I don't know if y'all need to know this or hear this, or nobody's ever told you. Stop applying on LinkedIn and Indeed. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. How you doing? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers, and I want to talk about something. Look, could you imagine you apply to like 600 jobs and you have like 4 different variations of your resume, 18 variations of your cover letter. You even made a slide deck, a 12-page PowerPoint to kind of bring home the point about what you do, how you do it, how you did it. And you go through all that work, you get about an average of 15% callback. You get of that 15%, you get and these are all cold cases, right? This ain't no referral shit. This is some cold case shit. And on that 15%, you get 10 offers that you outright decline just because when you get to a certain dollar point, it's about your sanity. It's about your peace. The dollar amount doesn't matter anymore. When you live in the middle class and you make over a certain amount, the money doesn't matter. Your peace matters more than anything. And then you do all of that just to find out that the job you really want, you can't get because you're not qualified for it. But here's the kicker. You lie on your resume, you go through the interview process, and you actually get that job. Could you imagine? And then in your shock and in your bravado, you have to you panic because now you got to learn how to program. You got to learn how to sift through query databases, and you got to create landing sites and S3 buckets and all of these different things you never knew. You got to learn it. So you turn to the internet, you make a few videos on YouTube, you stream every Monday through Thursday, and you call your channel some bullshit like Coding with Friends. And then instead of, probably taking full advantage of this opportunity, you go back out into the workforce. You go back out to try your luck and your new skill set to see if you can land a job. But what if I told you LinkedIn is using your frequency of posting, your frequency of applying to jobs, and anything you do on their platform to basically isolate you and make sure you don't get a job? And you're probably thinking to yourself, that's crazy. LinkedIn's whole purpose is to get a job. I told you. Stop. It's not. Every time you hit that easy apply, your shit just goes into a void. They have to fill a quota of sending random applications to these companies to fill their quota, and you're considered a number in that. But we got a story today that kind of talks about LinkedIn has started harvesting people's posts for training of AI without asking you to opt in. And I'm going to say this right now. With the whole Apple AI thing coming out, going to a few AI related events, there is a place in the world for optimized large language models, but AI in 1 to 2 years here is going to flatten out. They were bragging about this the other day. Hey, I'm a busy product manager and I don't have enough time to be on all these calls. And now with this new Teams AI feature, it can go to meetings for me and send it to me in a text. You know what that's called? That's called an email, sir. Did you just put a bow tie on shit and sell it back to me? That's called an email. I think we've hit the pinnacle of what AI is going to do. And now that companies are starting to figure out there are 2 types of companies that can benefit from AI. Companies that have a large amount of language, companies that have large amounts of information about people that they can sell as data, which is normally the broker of information, large information that can be sold. and companies that want to take that information to then in turn sell you ads. The vicious cycle continues. But as much as we've talked about how finding jobs in today's market has become so difficult, and it's become more difficult because for some reason CEOs' pensions keep getting higher and higher, and they just can't figure out why they have to keep letting go of more and more people. I'll say this to the death of me. Satoru Iwata literally took no salary when the Wii U didn't hit the quota it was expected to do. And I challenge you to show me one of the FANG CEOs who were willing to buckle that situation. You know, how many yachts do you need? There's only 7 days in a week. How many yachts do you need? But I digress. Let's get into this and figure out what bull LinkedIn is up to. LinkedIn started harvesting people's posts for training AI without asking for opt-in. You'll have to opt out if you don't like it. EU and a few others expect it. LinkedIn started harvesting users' generated content to train its AI without asking for permission, angering netizens. Who wrote this? Simon Sherwood. Okay, this is from the Register. I get it. You're probably not as big as the other publications, but come on. You're writing this for the people. Microsoft's self-help network on Wednesday published a trust and safety update in which senior VP and General Counsel Blake Wallet revealed LinkedIn use of people's posts and other data for both training and using in generative AI features. It is doing so, he said. The site's privacy policy had been updated. We note this policy link to FAQ that was updated sometime last week, also confirming the automatic collecting of posts for training, meaning it appears LinkedIn started gathering up content for its AI models and opting its users in well before Lawit post and updated privacy policies advised. So this is already underhanded as hell, right? They did this a week ago. They put out the FAQ update a few days ago, and now they're like, oh, you guys don't like this? Well, you guys can opt out. You know, there's a way to do it. We posted it 2 weeks ago. But it's just crazy how you know that it's LinkedIn. They've already gathered everyone's information. So now you have to get them to remove it from their database. And this is problematic for a lot of reasons. I don't know if they'll mention it here, but we'll talk about it if they don't. But this is super problematic for one of the two biggest places to go and look for a job, to be able to gather information on you. And remember, that information, if LinkedIn is on your phone, that means they can also track your geolocation. Imagine your job buying the information of its employees to see where their employees are living, where their applications are coming from, if one of their employees are sending out applications. A very problematic situation we have here, but we'll get into it. The FAQ says that the site's built-in generative AI feature may use your personal information to do things like automatically suggest stuff to write if and when you ask it to, and that your data will be used to train the model behind those features, which you'll have to opt out of if you don't like it. Okay, so let's also discuss this real quick. Can we all admit that those prompts that they give us is dog water? It's some of the worst prompts, the worst suggestions are given to me by AI. And the fact that they all sound the same, you can immediately tell when someone has sent you a response using AI. And it's a little bit disrespectful. Because why don't you have the time to write me something polite? Right? It's one of the worst feelings now, and you're starting to see it more in emails. I've already told my nurses, like, look, don't put this bullshit in none of your, like, if you're writing a patient's chart and you're using AI, we're going to have a problem. Because if it starts hallucinating on what it thought you were supposed to be writing and you miss that, I'll have you guys writing this shit with pen and paper and scribing it out, dictating your notes out later. So we put a very big kibosh on this. And shout out to my hospital for just blocking ChatGPT altogether. You can't use it on the internet, on our internet. We're also told that using LinkedIn means the outfit will collect and use or process the data about your use of the platform, including personal data, your post, articles, how frequently you use LinkedIn, your language preference, and any feedback you may have provided to our team. Damn, so that's crazy. So it's just an invasion of privacy at this point. There's some good news for users in the EU, Iceland, Norway, Liechtenstein, both of them. Okay, there's two of them, and Switzerland, as their data is being used to train LinkedIn AI, all and won't for the foreseeable future. So all those countries mentioned in the EU aren't going to have their information used. It's amazing how the EU is literally leading the forefront in protecting people's personal data, and America just can't seem to get on track. The document also states that LinkedIn seeks to minimize personal data in the data set used to train models, including by using privacy-enhancing technology to redact or remove personal data from the training data set. We can't get the data. We can't get the large language models to spell strawberry correctly. I don't think this is going to work. But the FAQ also contains the following warning. The system may provide someone else info if asked in a certain way. So a prompt wizard could basically get the AI system to disobey the original programmed language and use this to literally siphon information. So they're openly admitting. Did I just hear this correctly? Did they openly admit that your information isn't safe on LinkedIn? That anybody using that generative AI system can probably spoof your information. The warning is members or customers may provide personal data as an input to generative AI powered features, which could result in personal data being provided as an output. For example, if the member used the generative AI writing suggestion feature to help write an article about the best advice they've got from their mentors, they may include the names of those mentors in the input, resulting in the output generative AI writing suggestion. The Microsoft social media outfit also last week admitted an article titled "Control Whether LinkedIn Uses Your Data to Train Generative AI Models That Are Used for Content Creation on LinkedIn." The text explained how it's possible to opt out of the AI scraping and point to setting called Data and Generative AI Improvement that offers a single button marked "Use My Data for Training." So just in case you guys want to use that, I'll put that in here for everybody. And it'll also be in the description below with this article. The button is on position until it moves to off. Users' anger cannot therefore be surprising on LinkedIn. Big tech has mostly used scrape first, settle the lawsuit for the penance later approach to finding the content it needs to develop AI models. Forget about the concept of begging for forgiveness rather than asking for permission. Neither question is asked at all. LinkedIn could not have been unaware that likely backlash, making the approach very curious. That's super funny. That's super annoying. Users' anger cannot therefore be surprising. On LinkedIn, it is not hard to find the service move described as breach of trust, along with the rush of posts advising users how to turn the scraping off, which thankfully is not hard to do. Click on the LinkedIn profile setting, then go to Data Privacy, look for an item labeled Data and Generative AI Improvement. Click the single button there to opt out, then go back to wading through the rest of LinkedIn. So this is super problematic for a lot of reasons, and we've talked about LinkedIn in the past. And Ed Reed is the CEO of LinkedIn, who also sits on the board of Microsoft, one of the biggest employers in the world and one of the biggest companies in the world. And it's one of those oxymorons where the biggest company in the world needs the government to believe that they are employing people, they are constantly growing, and the person who is in charge of collecting data on who's applying to jobs, and then in turn giving that data to the labor unions and the labor markets to say, yes, people are hiring. The self-check balance situation here does not look good. But once again, I've said this before and I'll continue to say this. AI is starting to run its course, and AI is going to be used to get information from people. And why is this problematic? Like, maybe I'm being a doomer here. Maybe I'm on my front porch screaming at clouds, or maybe I believe that they're so fucking greedy. They're so goddamn greedy that they'd be willing to keep you in a position that you can't get out of. For example, if LinkedIn knows where you're applying, who you're applying to, how frequently you apply to them, how much time you spend on LinkedIn. And we know this for a fact because if you're not one of their pro members, and you should never sign up for their pro members because the first free month is free, but they only give you half of the access to it, and they won't give your application full privileges until after 3 months of paying them. So they're gonna just get 3 months from you up front, and then they'll actually start helping you. But LinkedIn literally tells you at the beginning that they're not interested in getting you off the app. What sense does that make? It's like a dating app, like Hinge, Tinder. On Tinder, I'm 6'5", but in real life, I'm 6'4". But all these dating apps are the same thing as just like LinkedIn. The moment you find true love and get off the app, they can't take money from you anymore. So why would LinkedIn have a vested interest in getting you a job? LinkedIn is nothing more than a website to search and see where jobs are, and then you go to that website and apply. Just to give you a frame of reference, the job I got for lying on my resume, I applied to on LinkedIn 3 separate times. It wasn't until I applied on the actual website that I got a call back. So LinkedIn, Indeed, these are places where applications go to die. It is nothing more than a research hub, and on its worst day, it's a place where some grindstep sigma beta ass dude who just proposed to his girlfriend wants to talk about why him crushing his sales order led to him being able to propose to his girlfriend, and why you need to grind harder. It is a place where people go to become more depressed, because whether you like it or not, your depression means that you still have to keep coming back to them. So I think absolutely you should remove yourself from this, and it's just going to make you vulnerable. Anytime a company has this much access to you, it's dare I say dangerous. We remember, what's that one, Glassdoor lost its respect when for some reason one day when we all came back to the app, companies could see who said what about their apps. Our names started popping up on people's shit. And I'm going to just keep it real. I was talking good shit about people on that app. I was talking good shit. So imagine my surprise when people started hitting me up saying, hey, can you take down that report, that mean thing you said? No. You think I'm afraid? I'm too afraid to say it to your face? I'll call you a trash bag person to your face if it's warranted. But this is one of the most serious research, and it's one of the things that I hate the most. People who are trying to pull themselves up by their bootstrap. You hear this all the time from very super conservative people and super like, oh, don't take welfare and social things, don't use them. But when companies are doing weak ass shit like this, it makes you really wonder, like, why should we respect those calls for action when people, like, literally the people who are down bad the most, who need the most help and are trying their best to get themselves back on their own feet and do it in a meaningful way with some dignity, but are literally have the potential to have their information stolen and used against them to keep them in that perpetual ass system. That's some diabolical shit. But you know, that's that. And once again, I'm not accusing LinkedIn of doing this, but that's just the next thought process, because now that they have your data and they're going to sell your data, I mean, it's just a matter of time before you figure it out that you're not getting any work here. So they're going to have to figure out another way to kind of keep you on this app. And I just don't see it as a profitable business plan if your business model is to get rid of your customers. It doesn't work like that. But that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang.
Like, share, subscribe. You guys know I love your faces. Come on now. Don't let me down. Say some nice shit in the comment section.